Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome back to Buffalo, set for kickoff. Colin Kaepernick returns, and he is no longer just a football player. He's become an activist. His protest during the national anthem has sparked a national conversation about social issues. This morning, he walked into the stadium, warmed up on the field, and then signed autographs for fans. When he came off of the field, I asked him, at any point, did you think you may not get this opportunity again? He said, you know, I thought about it, but I was willing to live with that. He has not thrown a pass in a meaningful game in over a year. But today he told me, I am not concerned about the scrutiny. There is no added pressure. He said, I am excited. There's extra energy and there's extra excitement for him today. Back to you, Dick.
Thank you, Christina. And of course, this is a story that really transcends sports that we really haven't seen in the National Football League. But now we're ready for football. The Bills won the toss and they decided to defer, so the 49ers will get the ball first. And back deep is Keyshawn Martin, number 19. And there are gusty winds here that's going to play havoc, I'm sure, with the kickers at least in this game. And before Dan Carpenter kicks off, it's going to be a factor here in some form or another, David.
It most certainly will. I don't think that it'll have a big effect on the passing game because it's high, but it will definitely have effect on the kicking game.
Mike Davis is back deep to join Keyshawn Martin for the 49ers. And so Colin Kaepernick will not have to wait long before he comes onto the field to lead the 49ers. And it's going to head to Martin, and he's going to down it. And he'll take it out on the 25. So here he is, and here he comes. First play of the game, and a handoff to Carlos Hyde, who's had a terrific year, and he gets 5 yards. So Colin Kaepernick, who's had great success, led his team into a Super Bowl and had a slump lately, but overall his career record is 27-20 as a starter. As we talked in the open, this is an opportunity for him to revive his career, but more importantly, it's time for him to get this offense back on track and feed it to his target, Torrey Smith, on the outside. He has 3 receivers to the right. Out of the shotgun, and he's going to throw a pass. Can't find a receiver, will run, and Kaepernick may have enough for the first down as Corey Graham, the safety, pushes him out of bounds. Let's take a look at the 49ers offense, and passing-wise, they have been woeful near the bottom of the league, but not a bad running team. Overall, how do you figure? They're going to lean on Carlos Hyde. This is going to be a run-first team in this game, but they've got to get the ball to Torrey Smith on the outside because under Gabbert, he has only had 23 targets this entire season. 1st and 10, and they give the flip to Quentin Patton, and Patton off the left side, and Patton runs his way into Buffalo territory to the 42-yard line. Vance McDonald, the tight end, with a great block and a gain of 17 yards for the 49ers. You see that first off, they start with Hyde, they start with the passing play, and what Rex Ryan was worried about, Colin Kaepernick's ability to be elusive and make sure that he continues to move the chains forward. Now you see a little trickery getting Patton on the little jet sweep and getting it to the first down. Rex Ryan, the head coach of the Bills, now 4 receivers line up, again 3 to the right side. And on a first down, looking right and throwing right, and this pass is caught to the 41 by Jeremy Curley. The Buffalo Bills defensively, they are tied for 5th in the league with the fewest points allowed. They like to blitz and they like to play tricks, and that's a pretty good defense. Kyle Williams is the most underrated defensive tackle in the game. He is unblockable one-on-one, and his motor goes for the entire game. 2nd down and 3, showing blitz. coming in and pass, and good protection going deep is Kaepernick, and the pass overthrown. Torrey Smith. So already, David, you see they're trying to get Patton and Smith, the receivers who haven't done much lately, into the action early.
He's trying to get it to his primary target. You see the blitz up the A-gap. They get a little pressure on the outside for Lorenzo Alexander. But they're doing exactly what they want to do. They want to make sure that they get those hits and are physical with Colin Kaepernick because they feel that it will be cumulative, and they want to force him to use his brain and his arm.
Third down and 3. And here's the handoff to Hyde, and he is stopped shy of the first down, and it was Leger Douzable, the former Jet defensive tackle, who makes the stop, and that will force the 49ers here to make a decision here, and it's going to be a punting situation. And into the wind will be Bradley Pinion. The wind is gusting, but mainly blowing left to right. And you can see the wind just knock that down. And the fair catch not called by Brandon Tate. So a little frustration on the part of Kaepernick. He had a deep receiver in the end zone. Buffalo comes on offense for the first time.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency.
And the Bills will start from the 13-yard line. They have won 3 in a row for the first time since 2011. Tyrod Taylor with time, and the first pass is thrown incomplete to the tight end Charles Clay. So Taylor, who's in his 6th year and had a couple of touchdown passes in the win over LA, doesn't have amazing numbers, but he's led his team to 3 tough wins. You
know, they talked about the passing game when we spoke to Rex Ryan and Anthony Lynn, the offensive coordinator. They just want an effective passing game. They said they do not care about stats. At the end of the day, it's about running the football and getting a win.
And that means LaShawn McCoy. And here is McCoy off the left side. And McCoy is brought down. McCoy coming off 150 yards against the Rams. His best performance in 2 years is stopped by Eric Reed. And a gain of only 1 as you look at the Bills offense. Jekyll and Hyde, outstanding rushing, worst passing in the league.
The worst passing in the league, only averaging 169 yards per game. They've got to get Marquise Goodwin going on the outside to open up things because they're going to play down in the box with their safeties trying to stop LaShawn McCoy.
And he's number 88 lining up. It'll be 3rd down and 9. And here is Taylor getting a rush. Gets away from a defender. He can run. And did he make enough for the first down? And he did. Tyrod Taylor, pressure by Aaron Lynch, the outside linebacker, and a gain of 13 with his feet, giving the Bills a first down.
This is exactly what both of these quarterbacks make you do. They make you play 11-on-11 football. So if you don't play lane discipline, if you are able to get pressure, he shows his poise in the pocket, and he's able to deliver it, move forward, and run with the football to get that first down. So we're going to see both of these quarterbacks doing this. I just think that there are more designed runs for Tyrod Taylor, almost like Cam Newton in Carolina.
And he comes in as the 2nd leading rusher, averaging 6.5 yards per carry for the Bills.
Hurry!
And on a first down, play action. And there is Taylor. He's got some pressure in his face, and he tosses it out of bounds. And it was Arik Armstead, the defensive tackle. And I'll tell you what, the 49ers are getting to the backfield pretty fast.
And they said that their biggest thing that they have to do today is they've got to swarm to the football, whether it's in the quarterback's hands, and Tyrod Taylor or LaShawn McCoy. They feel that no one individual can take those players down, and they need to get 1 or 2 over there so one can hold up and the other one can strip, because they've done an unbelievable job. When they get those takeaways, they're 3rd in the NFL with scoring 45 points off of it.
Bills, meanwhile, have scored 30 or more points in 3 of their last 4 games. On 2nd down and 10, they're going to throw again, and they come in quickly on Taylor. And this pass intended for Marquise Goodwin, but getting hit. Good pressure once again by Aaron Lynch. 2 49ers came in strong, and we have our first penalty of the game.
Well, this is exactly what they want to do. They want to be able to get that pressure. You see the outside blitz.
Face mask. Offense, number 25. Half the distance to the goal. Replay, 2nd down.
So LaShawn McCoy guilty of a face mask on Aaron Lynch. And that'll bring the Bills way back.
On that play, you see Nick Ballore, who is in place of Navarro Bowman, scrape on the outside as a blitzer, opens up things for Aaron Lynch down the middle of the pocket to get that pressure on Tyrod Taylor.
And Ballore playing for the injured Navarro Bowman on IR with an Achilles, the all-pro out of there. They lost Ray Armstrong, finted linebacker, but Ballore and Will Hoyt have come on big for the 49ers. So it's 2nd and 21. Back on the 12. And here's McCoy. McCoy up the middle. And McCoy getting close to the 30-yard line is stopped by Ahmad Brooks, but a big gain to get him out of trouble. And it'll be 3rd down and about 7 coming up for the Buffalo Bills.
LaShawn McCoy, in my 11 seasons as a New York Giant, is one of those players, when we were done talking, I had to get out of my seat and watch him. He's one of the most elusive backs in the NFL. You see the pulling guard in John Miller. He's making sure that he's in front of him and just makes a nice cut to keep it so they can move the chains to make this a 3rd and manageable.
Traded from the Eagles to the Bills, admits that he didn't see eye to eye with Chip Kelly, the head coach of the 49ers. And there's Taylor, completes to Robert Woods, and a 1st down. So their drive started from the 13. They advanced, went back to the 12, and now have a 1st down to the 35.
When you talk to anybody on this team, they absolutely love Robert Woods, because what is he? He is unselfish. He is one of the best blockers on the outside at wide receiver and getting up to the 2nd level.
And you got to reward the blockers, don't you?
No question. That's where he's getting catches right now.
1st down on the 36. And coming in a loose ball, and the 49ers may have it. A mix-up on the handoff. The ball was on the ground, and it was Armstead who forced the fumble. And let's see whether DeForest Buckner has recovered, and he has, for the 49ers.
What is the most dangerous thing for any rushing attack? Penetration into the backfield. You see unblocked, gets right back there. He's able to get a big hit on Tyrod Taylor, force the fumble, and put this San Francisco offense in a perfect position to start off fast and take over the 1st quarter.
Tell you, David, the Buffalo offensive line has not been able to keep the 49ers out of the backfield. They have been putting pressure on almost at will in this 1st series. And here comes Kaepernick, and he'll have pretty good field position for his 2nd go at it. So this is the 1st fumble that the Buffalo Bills have lost all season long. And a 1st down at the 28 of Buffalo. And the pass incomplete. Sean Trone, who's going in at running back, couldn't hold on to it downfield. And it will bring up 2nd down and 10. The 49er offense team, as you mentioned, not been able to pass well, and the yards per play, that's last in the league at under 5 yards a clip.
And that stat right there, 4.5 yards per play, which is worse than the NFL, is why Chip Kelly vowed after last week that he was going to do whatever it took offensively to get him back on track. Hence, Colin Kaepernick.
Carlos Hyde returns into the backfield, and Hyde is going to get stopped for a loss of about a yard by Graham and Kyle Williams. Time for a game break. Let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Big stick, LA at Detroit opening drive. Matt Stafford to Marvin Jones Jr. with that 7-yard reception. That is Marvin Jones Jr.'s 4th touchdown on the year. Lions up 7-0 in the early goals. Dick, David, and Christina.
So the Rams, who lost to the Bills last week, and Detroit trying to get to 500, takes that early lead. 3rd down and 11. Kaepernick, good protection, and he completes the pass to Torrey Smith, and Smith will have a 1st down just inside the 15. Kaepernick is getting terrific protection early on, unlike Tyrod Taylor, and a gain of 14.
That time, which we are not used to, they only rush 4. You expect in a 3rd and long position that this defense that wants to be aggressive is going to put more pressure on them. Only rush 4. They were able to block up the twist up front by the defensive line. You get Torrey Smith on the crossing route for the 1st down.
49ers trying to break a 4-game losing streak when they're open at 28-0. They'll drop 4 straight, and here is Hyde going off the left side. No chance there, and Zach Brown who is an outstanding player against the Patriots 2 weeks ago and has been very consistent at linebacker, makes the play, but another penalty flag. Gene Steratore.
Holding. Offense number 65. 10-yard penalty. Replay.
Now that's
First down.
the rookie Joshua Garnett, their #1 pick from Stanford, who they told us would be starting and then said it would be the same group as a week ago, so making his starting debut, guilty of holding, playing right guard today.
Which is a very interesting call because he was on the back side of that play on his own stretch to the left side going to the outside.
It'll be first down and 20. And here's Hyde getting maybe a yard. Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams, 33 years old, coming off of knee surgery and really been a gem in that defensive team.
You know, we talked about him in the starting lineups here. I've played up against Kyle Williams. He is so stout at the point of attack, and as double teams, you always talk about getting a player on one leg. It is almost impossible to do it to Kyle Williams.
Four wide receivers on second down and 19. And this time, keeping it is Kaepernick, and he's going to lose some more yardage. Once again, Zach Brown. Zach Brown with 2 outstanding defensive plays, one for a loss of 4. This one loses 3 for San Francisco.
Really nice job by Zach Brown on the backside, because you see Jerry Hughes is going to go down the line of scrimmage and play the inside, but right backside, Zach Brown holding point, making sure that he doesn't over pursue for these types of plays that they have for Colin Kaepernick.
So the 49ers trying to take advantage of that turnover, now have faced a third down and 22.
And he's very lucky. He almost got a face mask call, which should have been called on that play.
And a timeout called by the 49ers. And you wonder about the crowd reaction. Kaepernick making his first start, but of course I think the Buffalo crowd would be this way no matter who would be out there at quarterback.
This wasn't called, but you see right there the hand into the face mask taking him down. So they're very lucky on the Buffalo side that that wasn't called. And here we are still in this 3rd and long situation. And talking about these linebackers, Zach Brown coming into it was tied for first in the NFL with 57 tackles with Luke Kuechly. Him and Preston Brown, I think, are one of the best 2 linebacker tandems in the NFL.
Any difference early on, and it is early on with Kaepernick leading the team?
No, you can see that they're running their offense. They're doing exactly what Chip Kelly said that they were going to do. But I think that you see them being more aggressive, making sure that they push the football to the boundary and downfield past 20 yards, which they didn't do because of the ineffectiveness of playing gather.
3rd and 22, and they go to Quentin Patton, and Patton is not going to get enough for the first down, but it'll be an easier field goal try for Phil Dawson, who will come on, an 11-yard gain on that play. So this field goal, once again, attempt will be into a gusty wind, and you can see Aaron Williams, the safety, shaken up on the sideline for the Bills.
And once again, this Buffalo defense standing up. The offense gives over the football. San Francisco takes over and holding them out and making them settle for a field goal.
It'll be a 33-yard attempt for Dawson, who is 4 for 5 into the wind. And Dawson's kick is good. Phil Dawson giving the 49ers a 3-0 lead with 5:43 remaining in the first.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. Beer with your team on it.
Back here in Buffalo, Phil Dawson with a 33-yard field goal, taking advantage of a Buffalo fumble, their first of the year. The 49ers have the lead.
When I think about Phil Dawson, I think about Jeff Fiegels, who played with me a long time. I used to call him Grandpa because he was the last existing player in the NFL from Super Tecmo Bowl in the Nintendo game.
At least they didn't call him Great Grandpa. Well, ball is blown off the tee by the wind. And Dawson, of course, was sure-legged on the field goal, but you kind of wonder what it's going to be like on a kickoff here. A lot of wind gusting, but really affecting that direction, and that's a good way to show it. So there's no such thing as an automatic booted out of the end zone, I think, when you go in that direction today. And there is Brandon Tate, who is back deep along with Reggie Bush. And Bradley Pinion will handle the kickoff duties. And Tate, 5 yards in. That was a pretty good kick. LaShawn McCoy coming out. Had a great game last week. Great game all year. What can he do to get the Bills back?
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint. Switch and save today. Learn more at sprint.com/network. By McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by Pepsi. Every football moment deserves a celebration. Break out the Pepsi.
Back here in Buffalo, Ryan Groy is an extra offensive lineman for the Bills, who had trouble keeping the Niners out on their first time. And here is Taylor stepping up, and this pass is going to be caught. Flag is down to the 45-yard line to Charles Clay, gain of 20, pending the call.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 33. Penalty declined, the result of the play, first down.
So that was Rashard Robinson starting his 3rd straight game at cornerback, the rookie from LSU. And the penalty, of course, declined. They'll take the 20-yard play, and it'll be a first down on the Bills' 45. Here's McCoy. Slowed up and then put down after a short gain. Tackled by Tremaine Brock. So Chip Kelly, his team lost their 4th straight a week ago Thursday, and I think having that extra time helps them getting ready. First year as head coach Kelly trying to find his way, and new quarterback is in. E.J. Manuel is now in at quarterback, number 3, and Manuel is going to keep it, and Manuel will be tackled and will have a first down, it appears.
This isn't the first time that we've seen E.J. Manuel come in and be able to produce like this, but they want to use all of their weapons on the offensive side of the ball and try to wear down this San Francisco defense, because they have been out on the field coming into this game more than any defense in the NFL with 359 snaps. So they feel they can keep this group out on the field, and how fast Chip Kelly goes, that's going to be their gains in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
First down on the 45. Pressure in. And this pass by Taylor is caught by Robert Woods. And Woods gets pushed out of bounds. And so a first down and plenty, as Bethea making the play on Woods after a gain of 18. So Manuel came in for 1 play, and then Tyrod Taylor came in and completed the pass, and the Bills threaten here at the 27.
And Tyrod Taylor talked about how important it is to build Walter Powell's confidence early. We saw him on the around. We're seeing him in the passing game, and he feels his effectiveness will open up things all around, especially for Charles Clay, the tight end, because this 49ers defense has given up over 100 yards.
Taylor goes wide to the left and look for the direct snap to LaShawn McCoy, and that's what he does. And McCoy getting to the 23-yard line, where Bethea makes the tackle in a gain of 4. So on the direct snap, McCoy picking up 4 yards, and we've already seen some wrinkles for the offense for the Bills today. Reggie Bush has come in now at running back. 2nd and 7. Taylor with time. He completes it. It'll be a first down. I think the forward progress by Robert Woods is enough to give the Bills another first down and move the chains.
Like I said, his unselfishness as a blocker, but it's very, very interesting because of the poor passing attack of the Buffalo Bills, that his 196 yards coming into this one, which is the most on their team, is the fewest by any leading receiver for any NFL team.
He did catch 7 against the New England Patriots. Both teams trying to get other people into the action at wide receiver. Here is McCoy off the left side, and McCoy getting a good block from Cordy Glenn. The left tackle is stopped by Nick Bellore at the 14.
We talked about Nick Bellore filling in for Navarro Bowman, which are huge shoes to fill, but last week led the team in tackles, and you could see he's in on the blitz pressure package, which he was in earlier, and running sideline to sideline to make a nice tackle.
Second career start for Nick Bellore. Second down and 6 for the Bills. Big pitch to McCoy. Taylor directing traffic. Taylor trying to escape, and he's not going to. And will end up maybe with a loss of 1 thanks to Arik Armstead. We're seeing a lot more aggressive defense from the 49ers than we have.
We are, and they felt that extra time let them prepare and scheme for Anthony Lynn, only coming into his 4th game as a coordinator. But on this one, Tyrod Taylor completely missed Charles Clay open in the back of the end zone. And that was a point I was trying to stress earlier. This San Francisco defense is giving up 200-yard receiving tight ends this season, so he could be huge in this game with Jaworski Tart out and having to play Antoine Bethea down in the box at that one spot.
Woods in motion to the left, 3rd down and 5, looking his way, and this pass is caught by the tight end Charles Clay, and Clay getting closer. Keith Reeser making his first NFL start, and the ball is spotted at the 2-yard line.
This defense is really missing Jimmy Ward, their starting corner, but they feel Keith Reeser, because of his flexibility that he's played inside and out, can really help them in this game. But that's a tough matchup when you're going up against Charles Clay because of how big he is.
They mark it at the 7-yard line, and here is McCoy, and McCoy gets to the 3. Brooks is there. LaShawn McCoy, 150 yards rushing against the Rams, highest total in 2 years. Best game as a Buffalo Bill. Less than a half a minute remaining in the first quarter.
Hey, A1, 57.
Second down and goal, and here's the pitch to McCoy. Touchdown, Buffalo. Well, whatever he feels about Chip Kelly, and the two didn't see eye to eye, sure he enjoys getting a touchdown against his former coach, his 4th TD rushing of the year, giving the Bills the lead.
Great job up front by John Miller, the right guard, and the right tackle Jordan Mills setting it up. But a huge kickoff block by Jerome Felton, their fullback, which teams these days really don't have anymore.
That's for sure. That's a Neanderthal move by the Bills. Here is Dan Carpenter, and the Buffalo Bills, with 14 seconds remaining in the first quarter, lead the 49ers 7-3 on a 4-yard touchdown run by Shady McCoy. An impressive drive by the Bills, 11 plays, 75 yards. And I guess having that extra offensive lineman helped McCoy as he scores his 4th touchdown of the year.
And when you talk about this Buffalo Bills team, that's something that they've done. They've started fast in football games, but the thing that's really been their Achilles heel is the 2nd and 3rd quarter, where there's been drops, inaccurate throws, and penalties.
Carpenter kicking off. Martin and Davis are back, and they're going to be down it in the end zone for a touchback. Keep in mind that Chris Davis tore his ACL. He had been the kickoff man before, and the celebration by McCoy. Buffalo in front. I guess McCoy's not through running.
The Tour de Buffalo.
14 seconds remaining in the first quarter. First down at the 25 for the 49ers. Kaepernick is 4 for 6 for 50 yards thus far passing, and he's going to keep it. And Kaepernick slides, picking up about 6 or 7 yards, and that will do it for the first quarter. That is the end of the first quarter with the score. The Bills 7 and the 49ers 3. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Start of the second quarter here in Buffalo. Dick Stockton with David Deal and Christina Pink. David Deal, who started 164 games. Longest streak ever for a Giant offensive lineman. I think he could still play. Anyway, 2nd down and 3 as we start the 2nd quarter. And here is Hyde. And Hyde close to the 1st down.
Yeah, one of the things that I talked about coming into this football game is how the big plays for the 49ers offense has been non-existent. Coming into this one, they've had 0 receptions of 20-plus yards, but you already see Colin Kaepernick pushing that forward. You have Smith with a 15-yarder and a Patton with a 14-yarder, and they need to get more passes to the boundary as well.
On a 1st down, they pitch it again to Hyde, and Hyde along the sideline pushed out of bounds by Kyle Williams. Right now for a game break, let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Well, David was talking about big plays. It doesn't come much bigger than this. New Orleans hosting Carolina. Drew Brees hooking up with Brandon Cooks wide open. 87 yards later, it's good for 7, and right now, the Carolina Panthers have lost 3 straight. Are in a 14-0 hole in the 1st quarter. Dick, David, and Christina.
Robbins in Carolina, apparently. 1st down, Mike Davis. Number 22 is now the setback for Kaepernick in a 1st down. Kaepernick and going deep, wide open, and making the catch is Torrey Smith. And Smith racing for the end zone. Touchdown 49ers. Right on the heels of David Deal's comment of getting the likes of Smith and Patton into the action and a 53-yard touchdown strike.
Like I said, starting off highlighting offensively, this is the player. You see Torrey Smith in the trips right bunch look. This is exactly the type of combinations that Chip Kelly dials up. There's a complete breakdown in coverage. And there's that speed that you expect out of Torrey Smith, because coming into this one, he had careers lows in receptions, yard per receptions, and yards after catch.
How about 31st in passing in the league? Right now they have 103 yards to 59 for the Bills. And Phil Dawson is on for the extra point early here in the 2nd quarter, and the kick is good. And so the 49ers regain the lead now 10-7. Kaepernick going deep. He's had a time to practice to get the job, and he has delivered so far.
Game is sponsored by Chevrolet. More 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
That was the 2nd touchdown catch of the year for Smith. 49ers had only 5 receivers catching touchdowns, and so Kaepernick, who we said hasn't played since November 1st of last year, as Tate goes back to return the kick, says he's just about 100% healthy after surgeries on his shoulder, knee, and thumb between mid-November and January, and the 49ers up by 3. Pinion will be kicking off to Tate and Reggie Bush back there as well. And the Bills will take it out on the 25.
Let's go back to the replay of this touchdown. You see Torrey Smith on the outside of this trips right bunch look. We're going to freeze it right here. You see both Ronald Darby and Stephon Gilmore taking the outside of Curley on the breaking route. You see Aaron Williams deep in center field, expecting that he is going to have man help on outside. And Torrey Smith, there's no way with his speed that he's going to be able to come up and make that defensive.
Let's see how the Bills answer here.
Alert, alert! Alert, alert! 80!
Tyrod Taylor, no drop, but throws and completes the pass. Good for 8 yards to Charles Clay, the tight end. Well, tonight the National League Championship Series continues. Cubs look to take a 2-0 lead in the series, while the Dodgers turn to ace Clayton Kershaw to try to even it up. Game 2 of the NLCS from Wrigley Field, only on FS1.
As a loyal south side of Chicago kid, grown up in the hometown, I'm a White Sox fan, and the Cubs are going to fold.
Oh, come on. You got to be rooting for Chicago. Come on. 2nd down and 2. McCoy will have the 1st down and more. McCoy knocks off his own man and then falls down. It looked like McCoy gave a little bit of an arm to a teammate. Jerome Felton, by the way, the fullback, still existent, and a key block for him. A gain of 38 for LaShawn McCoy.
They are getting McCoy going on both sides. You're going to see here the big pull by Richie Incognito, the kick out block for him on Aaron Lynch. And look at McCoy. Get out of my way, Powell. I am running through this. My mistake. Robert Woods was the receiver out there. We talked about his blocking downfield. He wasn't expecting to get run over by his own guy.
Not at all. So a 1st and 10 now at the 29 of the 49ers. Play action for Taylor. Flushed out of the pocket, but you know what he can do then. And will go out of bounds short of the first down by a couple. Eli Harold made sure he wasn't going to get to the sticks. Picks up 7.
LaShawn McCoy already has 71 yards on 8 carries for 8.9 yards. But look at this stat. 25-3 on any team he's been on, rushing for over 100 yards.
And he has 71 right now, as you pointed out, averaging in
8.9.
Yeah, right. 2nd down and 3, and they give it to McCoy, and McCoy is about 1.5 yards, make it 2 yards short of the first down. It was Gillislee who carried the ball, not McCoy. Gillislee giving McCoy a breather. Lining up in a hurry are the Bills. Gillislee stays in there. And the handoff, and Gillislee is there, and it could be a first down, and it will be to the 19.
You could really see Tyrod Taylor and Anthony Lynn, the offensive coordinator. They've been pushing the tempo forward. They feel like they have the San Francisco defense on their heels. And this is a defense that has given up 146 yards on the ground per game, which is 31st. So they're pounding it, they are attacking, and they feel this is the way to break down this team in the 4th quarter.
And you know, David, when you're behind by a lot, teams are going to run on you to use up the clock, and you're going to be punished. You mentioned the fact they're on the field for too many snaps. Jerome Felton is the only back in there now, behind Tyrod Taylor. It'll be 1st and 10, and then Tate comes into the picture. Tyrod Taylor with a deep drop on the shallow cross to Nick O'Leary, the tight end. And O'Leary is tackled short of the first down by Eric Reed as the Bills charging downfield, looking to regain the lead, a gain of 6.
I absolutely love Nick O'Leary. Why? He's old school. No gloves on. He is a hand wide open guy, and you could see him make a nice key play for this offense.
Meanwhile, McCoy re-enters the game on 2nd down and 4.
Unbalanced again.
And a direct snap to McCoy. First down to the 5. Touchdown! How many footballs is he going to keep today?
We shall see, but what is he almost close to? He's getting closer to that 100-yard mark, 83 right now. And this is the 2nd touchdown that they've had where they've gone unbalanced. On the first touchdown to the left, this time they motion and put Jordan Mills at the tight end position on the right. What do? They run it backside. So you're going to see the defense and the 49ers load up to what they felt is the strength. Anthony Lynn dialing up a cutback play perfectly.
And Dan Carpenter with the extra point. Seesaw first half indeed. And here is McCoy. He had a 4-yard touchdown. This one from 12 as the Bills regain the lead. Boy, these scoring drives are coming quick, aren't they? McCoy with 50 yards on 2 carries, including his 2nd touchdown of the game, and the Bills leading now 14-10. And the Bills have been doing it on the ground in impressive fashion. The 49ers have gone to the air for their points. And Carpenter kicking off. Torrey Smith is deep, and this is returnable from the 3 in the end zone. And here's Smith. And good coverage that time, and a terrific play by Nickel Roby-Coleman, who had 2 interceptions against the Rams.
So we talked about the unbalance. Here you're going to see on this one, they go unbalanced, they move it over, they have 2 tackles, Jordan Mills and Cordy Glenn. What do? They run opposite, they run zone option. And let's look at this one, the last touchdown. What do? Now they move Cordy Glenn to the right side at the tight end position. Now they're going to run the Shady McCoy cutback. Gets it as the quarterback. They run opposite the strength, and easy touchdown for the Buffalo Bills.
Boy, what a difference. Anthony Lynn taking over after a couple of games as the offensive coordinator. running the ball a lot more than he did before. 10 men on the field, and for the 49ers, now they're ready. Starting from the 11. Hyde. They haven't had an answer. Hyde hasn't for the defense. Well, one of the best new shows of the fall season is Lethal Weapon, starring Damon Wayans and Carl Crawford. The whole hour is non-stop fun, so catch an all-new Lethal Weapon Wednesday on Fox. Gain of 3, second down and 7. They fake to Hyde, and Kaepernick taking off, and he's going to take off and get the first down as he slides. At about they're going to mark it at the 25-yard line. That's when he began his slide. So he'll pick up 11, but it'll be a first down for the 49ers. And an injured player, Zach Brown.
Well, here's that replay. You talk about zone discipline and lane gap discipline on the outside. You know, that time they don't do it. You see Jerry Hughes break down the line of scrimmage, run it down, and what does Colin Kaepernick do? He holds it and runs for a successful gain and gets it to the first.
Meanwhile, Zach Brown, who's played well all season long, shaken up. Ramon Humber, the former Saint, will come in to replace him.
Game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Zach Brown on the sidelines right now, and Ramon Humber replaces him, leading the NFL with 57 tackles. Show the difference. 49ers are passing for what they're doing. Buffalo running for what they've accomplished. First down and 10. In motion is Jeremy Curley. Kaepernick getting some rush, drills it, and the pass is going to be caught by Quinton Patton, and a first down and a gain of 13. Carissa Thompson, game break.
Cincinnati at New England. Andy Dalton's going to take this one in himself. A 2-yard touchdown run, his first rushing touchdown of the season. Bengals up 7-3. Dick, David, and Christina.
And we'll be watching that one. Carissa, thank you. That's the story. The AFC North, Cincinnati trying to get even on the year. First down and 10. And they flip it again to Quinton Patton. And on that jet sweep, Patton will have enough for another first down. Good block by Garrett Selleck, the tight end for the 49ers, an 11-yard pickup.
Coming into this one, this is one that you know Quinton Patton had to play better and complement Torrey Smith more, because if he isn't getting it done, one of the things they talked about is going maybe to Rod Streeter or Aaron Burbridge.
Just shy of midfield of the 49ers. Just under 8 minutes to go in the first half. And here is Hyde. Best run of the day for Hyde as he pulls his way for a first down, and he can do just that. One of the best in the league in yardage and carries, and of course tied for the league in touchdowns. For rushers, 16 yards on that play, and the 49ers are on the 36 of the Bills.
This is a thick, strong runner, and what is your best options? Getting him going inside the tackles. Nice block. They're excited to have Vance McDonald back at tight end, coming back from a hip surgery or a hip injury, and he is getting things going to set the edge on the outside for Hyde.
Kaepernick. And he completes the pass about 3 yards shy of the first down to Torrey Smith. Ronald Darby was right there immediately. You know, one of the people you were talking about besides Smith was Quinton Patton, who has really has become Kaepernick's closest friend on the 49ers, and they have good chemistry there, so it wouldn't be surprised if it continues that way. And here is Hyde trying to go outside. No, sir. And Lorenzo Alexander leads the charge. First time we mentioned his name today, but boy, what a year he is having, David.
He most certainly has had the best season of his career. He leads the NFL with 7 sacks right now. You see him on the outside going one-on-one against Joe Staley, sets the edge, and this is one that I talked about. Carlos Hyde is much better running in between the tackles because he can bounce and run through arm tackles. But when he takes it outside, we call that an attaboy. You're on your own.
Those 2 plays were living proof of what you're pointing out. Third down and 4, and knocked away by Alexander. Looked around for hope he could find it. And so the quick pass, he had it. He's saying to Kaepernick, I had it.
Don't hurt him ball. That's why it's a defensive end, because that's one that Colin Kaepernick threw right to him. Once again, you see him on the right here, lined up outside of Joe Staley. They're trying to get that quick laser screen to Curley to get things set up, and unable to do it.
48-yard field goal try coming up for Phil Dawson. And aided by the wind, not that he needed it, the kick is good. And the 49ers get 3 more and now trail the Bills by only 1. Lorenzo Alexander, who came over from the Oakland Raiders, big key of this vastly improved Buffalo defense. And now Bradley Pinion will be kicking off, and Brandon Tate, Reggie Bush are both back standing at the goal line. And the wind takes care of the football there on the tee. Tale of 2 different styles today. The 49ers have outpassed the Bills by 62 yards, and the Bills have outrushed the 49ers by 55. Rex Ryan and his brother Rob. And of course, Buddy, their father, one of the great defensive coaches of all time. And the Bills will take it out at the 25 with just under 6 minutes remaining. Well, Buddy Ryan was one of the great defensive coaches ever. His 46 defense led the Bears to Super Bowl 20 victory, went on to be head coach of the Eagles, later coached the Cardinals, and had sons Rex and Rob on his staff then. Rex has been a head coach in the NFL, and Rob has been a defensive coordinator for several teams. Rex and Rob coaching together this season, honoring their father, who passed away in June at the age of 85. First down, McCoy giving ground and then going down. He'll lose a yard.
And one of the biggest things that Rob Ryan has brought to this team, the ability to help them in the red zone and on 3rd down. They've been unbelievable because they bend, but they don't break. If you think last week against Arizona, they were able to get down there 4 times, and they settled for 1 touchdown and 3 field goals, and they're the 2nd defense, only giving up 37% in the red zone.
2nd and 10. Taylor, good protection, goes underneath to Charles Clay, and the tight end gets it out to the 30-yard line, where it'll be 3rd down and 5. One of the great things about Tyrod Taylor, and you can't say it with the earlier score by the 49ers, is his ability to protect the ball, not turning it over, but there was that earlier fumble, and the 49ers got points off of it. Mike Gillislee is in for McCoy at running back. Buffalo perfect on 3rd down conversions thus far. Third and 5, and they remain perfect as Robert Woods makes the reception for 6 yards, and the Bills continue their offense, and the wind continues to gust.
Very nice job by Tyrod Taylor on that. They are 5 for 5 right now on 3rd down, and you could hear from up here him adjusting. He slid the entire offensive line to the left. Gillislee went to the right to cut off that backside defensive end so that he could throw the ball efficiently and not have that defensive end get his hands up.
Justin Hunter has come in the game as a wide receiver. He's only been with the Bills for about a week, still learning the offense, but we saw in practice was used heavily in Friday's practice. He's in the slot to the left, number 17. And on the swing pass, good catch made by Goodwin, and they rule it incomplete. So good try by Goodwin.
You talked about Justin Hunter. Talk about great stats. 1 catch for 1 touchdown. They said now he's getting up to speed with the offense, and he can be a very dangerous weapon down in the red zone with his 6'4" frame.
So 100% of his catches are for touchdowns. That's pretty good. McCoy back in the game on 2nd down and 10. Play the tight end in motion. Taylor rolling out, getting chased from behind, and he completes the first down pass to Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin. And a flag is down, and it's going to go against the Bills. Pushing off will be the call.
Pass interference. Offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 2nd down.
Offensive pass interference against Goodwin.
He's right here on the inside. Takes that outside break. See the little scissors by the 2 wide receivers, but to push off on Reeser to try getting open. Easy call for Gene Saratora and the boys.
So instead of a first down, Bills back to their 26, 2nd and 20. Taylor over the top, incomplete, trying to get it to McCoy. And that will bring up 3rd down.
Well, good thing he didn't get it to McCoy, because Keith Reeser was about to put a huge hit on him. Anytime you lay out a wide receiver or running back with those high throws, you have to be careful, especially when it's your MVP to your offense and your team, LaShawn McCoy.
Big game for the Bills, because they won 3 tough games against 3 tough defenses, and this is a game that they're expected to win. You learn a lot about this team, how they end up doing against the 49ers, who have a 3-man rush here on 3rd down and 20. Hand off to McCoy. McCoy gets away. It'll be trouble. And here's McCoy. He'll have the first down. What a run by LaShawn McCoy to the 47th.
As a defense, you cannot let that happen, because any of these 3rd and longs, when they're backed up, you are expecting a draw or screen immediately. Watch McCoy and his elusiveness. Fouls his guard, Rich Incognito, sees a cutback, completely takes it. Next thing he needs to do, though, he has to be careful with that football, carrying it with one hand.
22 yards for McCoy. Has 106 yards already in the first half. Had 111 in the first half against the Rams. Gillislee is in there, but it doesn't matter. It's Tyrod Taylor carrying himself, and Tyler getting about, or Gillislee on the direct snap getting 4 yards. And Valor makes the stop.
That's the 2nd time we've seen it. They've done it with LaShawn McCoy for the touchdown, and now Gillislee in for it as well.
They send the quarterback out wide. So Mike Gillislee, who has a couple of touchdowns, including one last week against the Rams. 8th play of the drive coming up. Second down and 6. And the 2-minute warning here in Buffalo. Nip and tuck game. Seesaw game. McCoy with 2 touchdowns.
How we do this.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Bills have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. It'll be 2nd down and 6. And here is Taylor with the carry, getting inside the 40-yard line. Has another first down. Valor brings him down after a pickup of 9. 49ers next to last in rushing defense, and for the 5th straight game they have allowed a 100-yard rusher. McCoy already with 106. Again, he had 111 at halftime against the Rams a week ago. First down, and they give it to nobody, and it's going to be Taylor. And Taylor with a flag down, penalty marker down at the 20-yard line. And this one coming back.
Holding. Offense, number 10. 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Holding. Robert Woods nullifies the first down here.
See his hands on the outside of the framework, gets him turned and twisted. If the feet get beat, that's when they're going to get that penalty call, whether you're an offensive lineman or a wide receiver like him, who is the best blocker.
So it's a spot foul, and they're on the 30-yard line now, where it'll be first down and 20.
You've taken time to keep the line of game the same. It will be first down, 2 yards to go as the hold was beyond the line and a spot foul.
So at the spot foul, but that will narrow the distance
Please
that the
reset
Bills
the
have
play
to go.
clock to 25 seconds.
They reconfigure the play clock, and all the Bills need is 2 yards here. LaShawn McCoy has checked back in, and on the end around, here's Robert Woods. He'll have the first down, and head down goes Woods. David Deal talked about his toughness, and a first down inside the 25.
And one of the interesting things to see watching this up front from the box, you see right behind Rex Ryan, Rob Ryan has been coming out there, going up to him and telling him exactly what this 49ers defense has been doing and trying to make adjustments for their offense.
Woods shaken up a bit, being tended to on the Bills sideline. 51 seconds remain in the first half. On first down, Taylor gets away from a defender, and Taylor still on his feet. Ahmad Brooks had the first shot at him and missed him. And I think at the end of that, it's all for no gain.
Talk about athletic ability. His poise to, number one, still be able to keep his eyes downfield throughout the entire time. But number two, the ability to make defenders miss and keep pushing forward.
Stopping the clock with 38 seconds remaining. And plenty of timeouts. Taylor going underneath, and McCoy hit immediately by Valor. And McCoy looks like he's hurt. Holding on to that right knee.
The clock was stopped due to injury inside of 1 minute. By rule,
They stopped the clock by rule because of injury inside of a minute to 31 seconds.
They have 2 remaining.
And Taylor's concerned, as well as the other Bills right now, for LaShawn McCoy, who's the bread and butter of this team. By far.
And this stadium has gone completely silent. Oh, that is not good. You can see his right toe got caught in the turf. Gets kneed right into that knee. Does not look good.
You're right, David. You would think that there's nobody in the stadium right now. McCoy has gained 106 yards on 11 carries, scored 2 touchdowns. It's been probably the, without question, #1 reason why the Bills have won 3 straight games, beating the Cardinals, Patriots, and last week the Rams after an 0-2 start. This is sobering, to say the least. Going to take a break right now. Timeout. Here's the reaction by the Buffalo fans as McCoy came off. Walked off on his own power, but now on the table. That's the worst case scenario for the Bills to see that happen at that point. Meanwhile, Mike Gillislee comes back into the game on 3rd down and 8 with 32 seconds remaining in the first half. Tyrod Taylor throws, and the pass is incomplete. Out of bounds was Marquise Goodwin. So it's 4th down. And Dan Carpenter starts to come onto the field. Field goal kicker for the Bills. McCoy explaining what happened. Well, he's tough, huh?
He really is tough, but when anybody on your team gets hurt, especially your running back, what does it make everybody else do? You have to elevate your game. Gillislee needs to play much better now. Tyrod Taylor, and now you have to lean on these receivers as well. Ooh.
Look at McCoy. Don't count him out. This is a 40-yard field goal attempt by Dan Carpenter. As McCoy sees if there's any possible way, and of course halftime is coming up soon. That's pretty good right there.
Yeah, I would say that he's okay.
So a halted play, and now will again Carpenter. First field goal try by the Bills today. 7 of 9 for the season is Dan Carpenter. Trying to add to the Bills' lead. And the kick is good. So we're approaching halftime, and you know what that means. Time for us to check in with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll check in on Tom Brady's first game of the year at Foxborough. Eli Manning and the New York Giants try to turn things around against the Ravens. And Cleveland looks for their first win of the season in Music City. Make sure you join me and these guys on the Visa Halftime Show.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. Bills leading now 17-13, and Colin Kaepernick, who has completed 8 of 11 for 135 yards. He's thrown a touchdown pass and has rushed for 20 yards. And the 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining. That's not going to be the issue. It's the clock. 21 seconds is.
Buffalo has to be excited to be able to get this going and get that field goal in, because they will get the ball in the second half.
Here's McCoy and Gillislee discussing things, and it's like McCoy is really annoyed that he got hurt to begin with. I think you're right. I think he's ready for more. Keyshawn Martin from the 4 and gets upended. Does Martin before he gets to the 20-yard line by Kevon Seymour. And so the 49ers on the 18-yard line with 16 seconds to go.
It's surprising watching these returners take it out, because with the new rule change, I mean, you have to, on a return, at least get 20 to 25 yards to start.
Taking the knee and running out the first half. McCoy injured. Question is, will he come back after 2 touchdowns? Kaepernick with a touchdown pass in his first start. And the Buffalo Bills will take a 17-13 lead over the 49ers, trying to make it 4 in a row, and the 49ers trying to snap a 4-game losing streak in this game. Rex Ryan, who did not lose the team after they lost their first 2 games, stuck with them. And the formula of great defense and terrific running have paid off for them. Let's see if it continues in the second half, as they have outrushed the 49ers 172-56. 49ers have had the edge in the passing department. So this game is up for grabs. As the teams head to the locker rooms. Story coming in. Colin Kaepernick making his first start. Controversial figure with his actions, not standing for the national anthem and taking over for Blaine Gabbert, who had been the quarterback up to this point. Cornell University Marching Band from Ithaca, New York. And I remember all halftimes of NFL games were marching bands, including the Super Bowl. Now they have great shows. Halftime, 17-13 Bills. We now go to Kurt Menefee in LA for the Visa Halftime Report. And that was today's excitement, brought to you by the new Nissan Titan. Well, the report is LaShawn McCoy, who we saw injured, and Robert Woods, who was hurt a little earlier, are both ready to go as we start the second half. Didn't look good for a while, but McCoy's going to get going, and the Bills will have the ball first in the third quarter. Brandon Tate and Reggie Bush are back, and the kick, we're going to say it blew off the tee at the last second. So they're going to come back here. They're going to re-kick because the wind blew the ball off the tee. That was not an onside kick. I don't think the wind can perform an onside kick, do you?
No, but you could see that it's affecting the kicking game, but it's not affecting the passing game whatsoever.
Your view of the game in which one team has been able to pass effectively, the other team running effectively, tight game.
Well, obviously we see the way that the Buffalo offense is rushing the ball with McCoy, and they say that he is healthy and will be back here for the second half. But this is where Tyrod Taylor is only completing 48% of his passes in the third quarter. You look at this now, what do they have to do? You know that this 49ers defense is going to load up the box. They have to get Marquise Goodwin involved, who has 0 catches in today's game.
Bills will start from the 25. So here's McCoy, who has 106 yards on 11 carries. And for a while, the Buffalo fans holding their breaths. The silence was deafening here at the stadium here. Capacity crowd and great fans here. And I liken the fans of Buffalo in the AFC to the kind of fans you find at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. Throwback, small town.
Loyal.
Yep, yeah, with a capital L. Reggie Bush is in the game. And you see him lining up as a receiver to the right. And penalty flag.
It's a legal substitution. Offense had 12 men on the field. It's a 5-yard penalty, first down.
Rex is saying what? Let's look at the numbers in the first half, and you can see the passing advantage by the 49ers, but a great rushing advantage by the Bills. 1 turnover by Buffalo, and the 49ers took advantage of that.
You have to be impressed with the way that Colin Kaepernick has come out into this football game. He's 8 of 11 for 135 yards and a touchdown. But his defense has got to get off the field to give him more opportunities.
Said that from the start. And here's Reggie Bush giving ground. And Reggie Bush will be tackled, and a loss of about 5 yards as we send it down to Christina Pink.
Hi, Dick. It appears the Bills have avoided any serious injuries when it comes to LaShawn McCoy and Robert Woods. When I talked to Coach Rex Ryan, he didn't want to get into specifics, but he said, I want our offense to keep rolling. He also said defensively he was upset with the blown coverage on that Torrey Smith touchdown in the first half. When I talked to Chip Kelly, he said, we need to tackle better when I asked him about the ground game, but he thought that Colin Kaepernick did a good job handling this win, which has been a big factor today. He wants to see him get the more scoring from that offense in the second half.
All right, Christina, and on the screen pass to McCoy, and here is LaShawn McCoy with a penalty flag down, and McCoy is tackled, and
they're going to get a clip on Richie Incognito,
the veteran left guard. McCoy lost his hat. It's going to set the Bills way back now.
Illegal block in the back. Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
Going to say that cheer behind Christina was when McCoy came onto the field. Fans delighted to see him. And Gillislee will come into the game right now, and back to the 11-yard line are the Bills. Second down and 24. Inside is 5. And the pass off the hands of Charles Clay. And it was Eric Reed who gave him the hit, but that was a pass you got to catch.
It is a pass that you got to catch, and I know that I talked about Tyrod Taylor's third quarter where he's only completing 48% of the passes, but also they've had 4 drops here in the third quarter. That's one as a tight end. When you get your opportunity, you can really stretch the field down those seams when you catch it to open up things for everybody else outside.
So it's 3rd and 24. Taylor has time, and the pass is caught. It'll be well short of the first down. Marquise Goodwin making the play. They needed 24 yards, and they got 16, so fourth down coming up. And we'll see the Buffalo Bills punt for the first time today. Colton Schmidt will come on.
Last week they had 4 3-and-outs, both in the second and third quarter. Now they're going to give Colin Kaepernick an opportunity to really lead this offense down the field and make it a game.
No question about it, David. A flat start in the third quarter for the Bills. Jeremy Curley is back to receive, taking advantage of the wind of the Bills. And here is Curley, breaks a tackle, and finally falls down at the 30-31 yard line. So when we come back, Colin Kaepernick, as you pointed out, has good numbers as a runner and as a passer, trying to bring the 49ers back, trailing by less than a touchdown.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. By Ford F-Series, the official truck of the NFL. And by Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Back here, and Colin Kaepernick, whose only game action this season with 3 handoffs to finish the 28-0 game against the Rams in the opener, making his first start of the year. And the handoff is to Carlos Hyde. And Hyde, as David has pointed out, really tough inside runner.
We have to give Colin Kaepernick a lot of credit for the way that he's played today. It's just a lack of opportunities because of the way the defense is played. We talked about passes for 20-plus yards. He has one to both Smith and Patton. He's spreading the football around. He's running the football effectively. They have to put it all together now in a nice drive here in the second half to give their defense some rest.
Second down and 4, and the pass is dropped on the outside by Torrey Smith. And Kaepernick said that he had watched Chip Kelly's offense by being the backup, why he calls what he does, understands the sequence, and sees the big picture. Now the crowd is on its feet. Third down and 4. And finally a penalty flag and false start penalty against the 49ers. Maybe the crowd doing its job.
It's number 77. 5-yard penalty, third down.
So it's the right tackle, Trent Brown. So instead of 3rd and 4, it's 3rd and 9. Big difference.
That's just a poor decision on his part, and it's lack of experience, because you see him here at the right tackle position. You see the defensive end jump it, but he has the time to get back. It wasn't that jerk motion, and it wasn't 2 players removed. So that's a bad decision on Trent Brown.
Short drop by Kaepernick. Double pump and incomplete off the hands of Jeremy Curley. And that'll be 4th down. So the Bills were flat when they started offensively to start this third quarter, but they respond with a good defensive sequence, and the 49ers will kick.
They're showing pressure. They walk Zach Brown and Preston Brown up into those A gaps. They drop back out into coverage, only rush 4. And you see that the window was open for Jeremy Curley, but that ball is thrown too high and able to catch it. And here we are on a punt, and they were unable to take over that momentum that the defense just gave them to start here the second half.
Brandon Tate is back, and a short kick. And it will drop at about the 38-yard line. So the Bills will have really good field position. Well, screening saves lives, and the NFL and the American Cancer Society encourage everyone to join the fight against breast cancer. Learn more about a crucial catch day on October 25th and find out how you can help make a crucial catch at NFL.com/pink. There's an example of a lot of pink worn by players on both sides here and all over the National Football League this entire month. First down and 10. LaShawn McCoy, the setback.
Ready?
Woods going in motion. And here's McCoy with a head of steam. And he comes out with a nice gain of at least 5 yards. Well, on Friday, the Bills hosted breast cancer survivors at their facility during practice. The team also hosted the charitable Believe event at the Palooga's restaurant downtown, the owner of the Bills, Friday night for survivors, which was attended by players. And before today's game, breast cancer survivors were honored on the field. And McCoy, snap goes to him, nearly fumbled it. And Brock came up to make the play. Nearly disaster for the Bills, and they've tried a lot of this trickery today, David.
And I made that point earlier when he had the huge cutback on the run where he was running with the football one hand. You knew that this 49ers defense had to come in, and they need to create those takeaways on the defensive side of the ball to give them any chance to come out of here and get off of the field.
Pretty good third down conversion rate, 6 of 8 so far. They need 10 yards, however, do the Bills. Tyrod Taylor staying in there, and the pass nearly intercepted by Antoine Bethea. Robert Woods was the intended receiver, and a flag is down.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense number 50. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So it was Ballore who got a hit on Woods, and that created a defensive penalty, which gives the Bills an automatic first down.
Number 72 is reporting eligible.
And Ryan
72.
Groy comes in as an extra offensive lineman, number 72 for Buffalo.
The jumbo package, it's been working successfully for them. They've been going unbalanced with tackles. Now they're bringing him in with Charles Clay.
From the 44, and they're going to keep it. Tyrod Taylor with a little stiff arm that time for Keith Reiser. And let's go to Carissa Thompson for a game break.
We're going to head to New England. Cincinnati at New England. Brendan LaFell's 5-yard touchdown catch from Andy Dalton. LaFell spent the last 2 seasons with New England, and the Pats are up in this one the Bengals are up 14-12 after a Patriot safety.
Hanging in there. Thank you, Carissa. Meanwhile, Keith Reiser prevented a further gain that time. Mike Gillisley in the backfield, as well as the fullback Jerome Felton on 2nd down and 8. Nowhere to go with it. In trouble getting away, and finally down after a pickup of 1. DeForest Buckner, who didn't play against the Cardinals with an injured foot, started the first 4 games, but puts down Taylor there. No gain.
And let's see now if this San Francisco defense can again get off of the field and give Colin Kaepernick another opportunity. Great job by the offensive line for the Buffalo Bills protecting up front, but a lot of credit goes to the coverage of the 49ers.
Defensive penalty hurt him a little while ago. Let's see if they could shut down the Bills here on 3rd and 8. Taylor's pass, and incomplete. No flag is down. It was Justin Hunter, defended by Keith Reiser. 2nd year, 5th round pick out of Florida Atlantic University. And it's 4th down.
Tyrod Taylor does an unbelievable job. He gets it to the boundary to where only Justin Hunter can catch it. And once again, it goes right back to the issues that the Buffalo Bills have had, staying in sync, having consistency, and being able to continue to move forward on 3rd down.
Colton Schmidt will be kicking. Jeremy Curley back deep over toward the sideline. And out of bounds. Great kick that time by Colton Schmidt. And the 49ers will have the ball at about the 5 when we come back. Bills lead the 49ers 17-13. Carlos Hyde on the sideline. Check on his condition. Mike Davis has been in the backfield. And Davis with the carry as the 49ers start from their 5. And no gain there as we send it down to Christina Pink.
Hey, Dick. Carlos Hyde is questionable to return with a shoulder injury. It happened on a big hit on the prior drive. Also for the 49ers, cornerback Rashard Robinson is in the locker room right now being evaluated for a head injury.
All right, thank you, Christina. So here's LaShawn McCoy. Looked like he was going to be gone for the game. He stays in there, and now Hyde, the top running back for the 49ers, may not be back. And here is Kaepernick getting out of the end zone. And Kaepernick, using his legs, gets it out to the 12-yard line when he might have been trapped for a safety. And it was Jerry Hughes, the linebacker, who missed that opportunity for the Bills.
And this is exactly what said Rex Ryan. I am scared about these type of plays. These type of plays where he is athletic enough to run through tackles and to make plays out of nothing.
Sean Drone is coming at running back for San Francisco. On first down and 10. Kaepernick inside his own 10. And the pass is caught at the 20 by Jeremy Curley. Small screen, stadium-sized content. Watch live local Sunday games on your smartphone with NFL Mobile. Second down and 5. Davis back in at running back. Fake handoff to him. Kaepernick backed up and smartly throws the ball away. Jerry Hughes forced Kaepernick to make that decision.
And this is exactly what Chip Kelly said, is he's smart with the football. We've seen Blaine Gabbert force throws in the third, especially in the fourth quarter, that have taken him out of games. He's live to live for third down. Second down, you're still in the third and manageable, 3rd and 5. Don't force a turnover. Live for this down.
That's Blaine Gabbert, who started every game until this one. So it's 3rd down and 5. Kaepernick's incomplete. And a great defensive play by Nickel Roby-Coleman on Jeremy Curley. Coleman with the 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown last week against the Rams. The AFC Defensive Player of the Week comes up big.
Nice break on the ball. You see him read through the eyes, come down, gets downhill. Jeremy Curley doesn't put that football away right away. Roby-Coleman coming up with another key play for him, and he's been doing it all season for this football team.
David, both teams have had really good opportunities here in the 3rd quarter, given to them by the other club, haven't taken advantage of it. See when that breaks. Brandon Tate backing up to his 32. And a good return by Tate. And real good field position, the best of the day for the Bills. So the 49ers on the defensive right now, trailing by 4.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Join the Better Network because better matters.
McCoy, nothing yet in the 3rd quarter for him. 1st and 10. Here comes the pressure on Taylor, and the pass is caught, and the tackle made on Goodwin.
LaShawn McCoy has been absolutely explosive and has carried over from the last 2 games that he's had. There's the touchdown. Here's another big run that he had in this game starting off. Here's another touchdown that he had, getting it as the quarterback and keeping it. And here's where he had that injury. Nick Bloor coming up with the tackle. He was on the field for a couple minutes but walked off on his own. This was the quietest I've ever heard this stadium.
2nd down and 4. Into 49er territory. Taylor on the run, and he throws it away. Which team will take charge here in the 3rd quarter, David? And it's been there for both clubs to take hold. No one has been able to do it yet.
And you know, you hate to talk about last week because we're already here in the 2nd half, but it's still the same problems. Tyrod Taylor in last week's game only had 16-yard passing, and he missed a big throw for a touchdown to Woods. So this is where offensively they have to find their niche in their passing game. I know that you're talking about efficiency and not about numbers, but if you want to start putting teams away, especially down the stretch, it's going to be coming down to these passing yards.
How about these defenses today?
Unbelievable. In San Francisco, even though they're getting gashed in the run, they've played so much better here in the 2nd half.
3rd down and 4. And this pass is incomplete. It was intended for Robert Woods, and Tremaine Brock defending on the play. So very aggressive play, and I think secondary play has been exemplary today as well.
It really has been. You talk about stepping up for Jaquaski Tartt and Jimmy Ward. Keith Reeser has been making plays. Yes, Rashad Robinson did have a penalty, but he has had pass defense. So they've really maintained a solid, disciplined group. They're not having a ton of penalties, and they've made adjustments at halftime in order here to play better.
Smith with the punt. Curley. And it goes the same way toward the sideline. Last time the 49ers had to start from the 5. And not this time. Colin Kaepernick keeping the 49ers in the game. For that matter, so is Tyrod Taylor for the Bills. Carlos Hyde, who's questionable with a shoulder, back in the lineup. He has gained 43 yards on 10 carries. So the top running back for the Niners are back in there. First down and 10 on the 20-yard line. Kaepernick's pass is incomplete, intended for Quentin Patton. Well, every weekday morning, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Tomorrow they'll be joined by NFL insider Michael Lombardi and Packers great Greg Jennings. Undisputed with Skip and Shannon weekdays at 9:30 a.m. Eastern only on FS1. Second and 10, and Hyde, nothing there. A couple of yards is all. Jerry Hughes for the Bills. And no scoring in the third quarter with under 6.5 to play. 3rd and 8. Kaepernick will take off, and Kaepernick will get the first down and wind up into Buffalo territory. Kaepernick's longest run was 11 yards earlier, and this time he gets 29 yards and a first down, only the second third down conversion today for San Francisco.
Once again, we talked about lane discipline. You see that they bring the blitz, they pinch at the outside.
And Hyde. And right now, the 49ers content to pound. You were saying.
I was saying that when you're in those third and long passing situations, they brought pressure. You want to get after Colin Kaepernick, but when you're that outside defensive end and Leger Douzable inside, you can't take that veer inside, leave him wide open without anybody in the outside to contain him.
Boy, he has been in danger with his legs today. Mike Davis comes in at running back on 2nd and 8. And the pitch going to Davis with a good block in front of him. Good block that time by Joe Staley, the left tackle. And it'll be about, say, 1.5 yards shy of the first down.
This has been an all-pro and a Pro Bowler for a long period of time. He's really taken over as the leader of this group, considering that they're young. But the biggest thing for this offensive line, last week 7 sacks, as of now 0.
And here is Davis, and didn't make it. Davis is stopped 1 yard short of the first down. Ball at the 40-yard line, and it'll be 4th and 1. That time it was Douzable and Preston Brown, and they're going to go for it.
Mike Davis, it's 3rd and 1. You cannot dance in that one. Now we'll see when they go back to Hyde with the 4th and 1. Oh, it's still Davis.
And Davis is going to get stopped. Maybe it should have been Hyde. And the Bills will take over on downs. Preston Brown with 2 superlative plays at the Mike position for the Buffalo Bills. Stops the running attempt for the first down. Brown getting everyone into the act, and he has been in the act.
Great call by Dennis Thurman, the defensive coordinator. They run a cross dog. First Zach, then around Preston. They eat up everything inside, nowhere to run, stop him on 4th and 1.
So the Bills taking over on downs, first down at the 40-yard line. And here is LaShawn McCoy. McCoy, the real McCoy, getting a first down after 106 yards in the first half. Had 2 rushes for 0 yards until that gain of 12.
Once again, what does he bring? He brings that spark. He brings that energy and that momentum that it's been quiet in here in this second half. And sure enough, he has a big run. What happens? Everybody gets off their feet, and the rest of this offense always rallies around.
Bills lead by 4 with under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter on the 48 of San Francisco. And the direct snap to McCoy. Can't get away, and they're going to lose a bunch there. And Nick Ballore Send it down to Christina Pink.
Hey, Dick, an update on Rashard Robinson. He does have a concussion. He will not be returning to the game.
All right, thank you. Robinson, the rookie from LSU, the 4th-round pick, had started 3 straight games. And Keith Reeser, second-year corner, number 27, has played in his stead and has played well. There's Reeser, second down and 15. Taylor, he's got time to survey the field and complete the pass to Nick O'Leary, your guy without the gloves. "23 yards, no gloves, O'Leary."
Like I said, I love the old school. Look at the protection up front by the Buffalo Bills offensive line. They only rush for it as the perfect arc. Tyrod Taylor has plenty of time. And as discussed earlier, this San Francisco defense has had a lot of problems with tight ends. They've given up 2 for over 100 yards. And you could see the crossing route due to the time with the protection that he was able to read through the progressions and get the first.
From the 30-yard line, first down, pump fake by Tyrod Taylor, and his pass caught, touchdown, Justin Hunter. Justin Hunter, who is let go by the Dolphins after several years with the Titans, only here for about a week. 30-yard touchdown reception to spread the lead for the Bills, and Dane Carpenter adds the point after. So with 2:34 to go in the third, it's 24-13 Buffalo. And don't count out Taylor. He can get it deep if he needs it.
Nice job by Tyrod Taylor. You see him inside, and you see Hunter here at the inside of that trips. You see the pump fake. He gets the safety and outside defensive backs to stop and pause. Sure enough, he's able to hit it over the top. Once again, here it is, Justin Hunter. He's the inside of the 3, the trips look. That little pump fake gets everybody to stop, and he's able to run right by Eric Reed for an easy touchdown.
So 2 safeties were defending down there, Reed and Bethea.
And now Hunter, 2 catches, 34 yards, 2 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
I say it's 100%.
That is a great percentage to have as a wide receiver.
If he could just improve on that 100% margin, we'll have something. So Hunter joining the club. And Taylor taking advantage of the newest receiver on the team. And the Bills lead by 11. They did it in a hurry. 4 plays, 60 yards. Bills trying to go to 4-2. They were beat by the Ravens, and then the Jets ran up over 30 points on them, and then 3 straight wins over tough defensive teams. Cardinals, Patriots, and the Rams on the road. And remember, they've scored 30 or more in 3 of their last 4 and have 24 right now. Keyshawn Martin and Mike Davis, twin returnees. That's Davis for the 49ers. And no one will sail out of the end zone with the wind helping them. And they'll start from the 25. Let's check in again with Christina Pink.
Well, Dick, Syracuse University is just a couple hours away from here in Buffalo. And on Wednesday, our very own Dick Stockton, you heard him all game, class of 1964, was inducted into the school's Radio Hall of Fame. WAER in Syracuse is where many noted play-by-play announcers got their start. Congratulations to you, Dick.
Thank you very much. You know, this is before that great Newhouse school was was built. It's true. And David, great announcers have come out of Syracuse.
They really have. Number one, to have Ernie Accorsi, who drafted me to give your speech on your behalf. But there's a reason why Syracuse won yesterday in their football game. Dick Stockton, give him all the credit.
Yeah, right. Kaepernick with his team down by 11. Is tackled behind the line by Zach Brown. Ernie Accorsi, the former general manager of the Giants, who will be inducted into the Ring of Honor on the 14th of November. And yes, he drafted you. Very proud, he said, of a number 5 round pick, who's an outstanding left tackle for so many years for the Giants.
Great man as well as you, Dick Stockton. Congratulations.
Thank
well
you.
deserved.
Meanwhile, the 49ers facing 2nd down and 11 on the 24. Fake handoff and Kaepernick's pass, and holding on to it is Vance McDonald. And they'll say it is an incomplete pass. Penalty flag down as well at the 43. McDonald had missed the last 2. Returning to action today, had a hip injury and appeared to be a little shaken up there.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 23, 15-yard penalty tucked to the end of the run. First down, San
Costly
Francisco.
penalty against Aaron Williams, the safety on a face mask. So time for a game break. Check in with Kurt.
Well, Carolina trying to stage a comeback. Once down 21-0 at New Orleans. This tough throw by Cam Newton against his body, and it works. Ed Dixon gets a touchdown. They're within a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. Good David and Christina.
Good game in the Big Easy. 34 yards in all, 19 yards on the pass and 15 on the penalty. And Carlos Hyde with the run to the 39.
Now here's the penalty. There was a big uproar, and you know that he didn't grab the face mask. His hand was on top of it, but officials aren't perfect. They see that hand in the face mask, they think it's a grab.
So the pass was caught beautifully by Vance McDonald. Mike Davis has come in the game at running back, and Kaepernick looking for running room. And Kaepernick going to the outside will get the first down. Bills going after the ball. Corey Graham was. He makes the tackle, but not before the 49ers have a first down out to the 31. Under a minute remaining in the 3rd quarter.
65.
49ers trying to narrow that 11-point lead by the Bills. Curley going in motion. And finally, the 49ers are forced to call a timeout. They're really critical in the 2nd half, especially when you're behind. And so the first timeout called for by the San Francisco 49ers. And even though we have plenty of time to go in this game, you'd have to say that this is a critical time for the 49ers because the Bills look like they have momentum right now.
They really do. They have the momentum, and what are they doing? They're running the football to control the clock. We're getting closer. There's only 28 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter, and now it's time for the 49ers to capitalize on what the defense is giving them. Yes, they gave up a touchdown in the last drive, but here in the 2nd half, they've given this offense opportunities to be successful and put together a drive. But what do we always talk about? It's about finishing the drives.
First down at the 31. Kaepernick's numbers. And he's done it with his legs as well as his arm. He's looked good today.
He really has. Yeah, like I said, you have to give him a lot of credit. 10 of 18, 1 touchdown, rushing for 66 yards. He's really taken this offense to heart and really produced what they needed him to.
But which quarterback will finish the job? That'll be the key, as Kaepernick has some time, going deep and incomplete. Pass a little short, intended for Torrey Smith. 2nd down and 10. 21 seconds on the clock here in the 3rd quarter.
You could see him with his pocket presence. He's moving out of the way because here, right tackle Trent Brown, you see him giving pressure. He's lucky he didn't get a holding call with the grab and pull down. Colin Kaepernick sliding, unable to step up and deliver the ball accurately because he had Torrey Smith open.
Second down and 10, and they're going to run it with Hyde, and Zach Brown is there, and a gain of just a couple. And that should be the end of this third quarter with one score, and that was the touchdown pass from Taylor to Justin Hunter. Could this be the difference that widens it for the Bills? That's the end of the third quarter. Buffalo 24, San Fran 13. Score by quarters as we enter the fourth. Dick Stockton along with David Deal and Christina Pink. Third down and 8 for the 49ers. On the 29 of Buffalo. Kaepernick drills it, and incomplete, intended for Curley, but the pass bounced in front of him. Corey Graham on the coverage, so fourth down coming up, and Phil Dawson, who's 2 for 2 with field goals, coming in.
This time Buffalo only rushes 3. Jerry Hughes on the outside. You see him get a little bit of pressure to flush him, but right again, Colin Kaepernick doesn't get the ball far enough and deliver it accurately. You could see his feet. He's still sliding. And when you do that and you don't step up, plant your feet and deliver it, I don't care how strong your arm is, you're not going to get it there.
Dawson 2 for 2. Last one was a 48. This will be from 47. And Phil Dawson's kick is good, so the 49ers get 3 back. (24-16), and it's a one-score game right now. The Bills in front, and Tyrod Taylor getting set to get back to work.
And also thinking about those short throws he's making. Colin Kaepernick had 3 surgeries this offseason. He had left knee, left shoulder, right thumb. So when everybody's talking about his body, how he is not as cut and as ripped as he was in the past because of all the rehab that he has had to do, not to mention, think about all the practice that he's missed. So you know that he says he is healthy right now, but that definitely has to have something to do with his ability to grip it and rip it like he has in the past.
No question about it, David. And he said, my weight, a lot of people have been talking about what his weight is. He said, that's not the point, the strength. And he says, I'm just not quite at 100%, but getting there. And, you know, I think the 49ers are, to this point, win or lose, pleased that they made the move.
And that's one of the toughest things as an athlete is the mental part and getting back that strength and that confidence in yourself. You give him a lot of credit for coming back, but you could just look at Colin Kaepernick's arms. They're not like they used to be.
You said the key word, I think, David, confidence, and that's the one thing he hasn't had when he was 3-10 as a starter, and he's got to be getting some of that back. Tonight, the National League Championship Series continues. Cubs looking to take a 2-0 lead. What will Clayton Kershaw say? And he's going on 2 days rest to start this game after a save role coming in to save the game for the Dodgers in the Division Series deciding game against the Nationals. Way out of the end zone. And the Bills will start from the 25. Just 12 seconds into this fourth quarter. Those are the offensive leaders for Buffalo. Good percentage. 1 turnover for the Bills, and that was the fumble in which the 49ers took advantage of it, and it was Taylor who had lost the ball. Trying to hand off to that man, LaShawn McCoy. He had 106 of his 113 yards in the first half, and he's going to lose a few here. Back to the 19, Arik Armstead with the tackle. and he'll lose 5.
That's his second time that he's made a big play. He's forced to fumble the opening drive of the Buffalo Bills. But this guy's huge. You're talking about a specimen. His first-round draft pick out of Oregon last year. This guy's 6'7", 292, and his length and his ability, once he starts putting things together, secondary pass rush moves, then you'll see the type of impact Calais Campbell has had inside in that Arizona defense.
How impressive is that? Second down and 15. And a quick handoff to McCoy. Boy, when McCoy gets ahead of steam, as a lot of the Bills said, or a lot of the 49ers said, you can't bring him down one-on-one. And it was Ballore that time, 6 yards on the pickup. And that will be 3rd down and 9.
And that's exactly what Michael Wilhoit said. He's like, everybody talks about how fast, his speed, his vision, his elusiveness. This guy's tough. He is physical. He runs through arm tackles. He will try to run you over. He just gets it done in every aspect of the running game. And at 115, you still have to think about that 25-3 record.
3rd down and 8. Taylor is back. Escapes trouble, and on the run, completes the pass. Charles Clay. Boy, you can credit Tyrod Taylor and his nimble feet for getting away from danger and getting Clay, the tight end, for 15 and a 1st down.
Tyrod Taylor dropping back, feels the pressure. You see him once again. Even when he's running with the football, he is still keeping his eyes downfield. And that's how much he's matured, because he used to think run first. Now he's thinking pass first and then possibly run.
Here's McCoy up the middle, and a good tackle by Wilhoit. Michael Wilhoit stops further damage with his play. Wilhoit is hung in there when other people have taken over for what he would play, starting his 3rd game in a row. Has just been patient and has delivered when he's had the chance.
When their number's called, you better be ready.
2nd down and 3. It'll be a 1st down for Taylor. And let's see if they throw the flag on the tackle. Reed saying, look, I just didn't want to go after his head, and no penalty marker is down. Crowd wants it, not getting it, and an 8-yard gain and a 1st down for the Bills.
I know everybody was screaming because of the intent of what he meant to do, but he actually missed him with the helmet to helmet, and it was his shoulder that hit him.
Good no call.
Good no call.
Mike Gillislee in at running back, gets the call, and Gillislee carries the pile to the 39-yard line. Five-yard pickup.
And if you look at this San Francisco defensive line, what do they have? They have their hands on their hips. They're starting to get worn down, and this Buffalo offense is starting to take over, especially the offensive line.
2nd down and 5. Getting a hand on Tyrod Taylor, getting away, getting another 1st down inside the 30. Taylor putting on a show with his feet. And we saw the touchdown pass as well. Eric Reed, the free safety, had missed the tackle originally, and it ends up a 21-yard gain.
Protection up front, they slide it right, and Gillislee actually goes to block the wrong person. He takes an inside track, completely misses his defender, and that's making something out of nothing by Tyrod Taylor.
Well, you're on the 18-yard line. What do? You bring in LaShawn McCoy, who has 2 touchdowns today. This is the 8th play of the drive. And it's McCoy to the 10. McCoy, 3rd touchdown.
Pulling backside guard, Richie Incognito. They run power, get things going. They've done a nice job of blending zones, zone reads, inside zones, outside zones, and power. And like I said in this drive, you really saw this defense of the 49ers wear down, especially up front.
Dan Carpenter with the extra point, and it's 31-16. Time of possession differential is about 8 minutes, but it's McCoy now with 140 yards in the game, 3 touchdowns. And Tyrod Taylor's dancing also helped.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's and by the new Bacon King sandwich, only at Burger King.
Back here in Buffalo. 75-yard scoring drive, and LaShawn McCoy with his first 3 rushing touchdown game in 5 years. Ties his career high. And this kick fielded by Keyshawn Martin. Martin gets hit and hit hard. Loose ball. Mikel Roby-Coleman jarred it loose. Question who has it. Goes through. I didn't have to say that.
And we talked about outside of LaShawn McCoy.
Oh, watch out. One official slow getting up, another one lost his hat. Jonathan Meeks recovered it.
So we talked about Mikel Roby-Coleman, the impact that he's had on this team. 2 interceptions last week, 1 for a touchdown. He's had a fumble recovery for a touchdown and shows up big on special teams. Hit, gets it, and you could see that chainsaw, starting a lawnmower, ripping that football out of there. There it is, boom. Nice play. What an impact he's had, not only on this football game, but on this season for this team.
Mentioned the 2 picks last week against the Rams. One resulted in a 41-yard touchdown in the 3rd quarter.
Right at the end, you see the pull.
So now at the 27-yard line, it's first down Buffalo. First turnover by the 49ers, and trying to strike big, and a push, and downfield LaShawn McCoy, Eric Reed, and they're going to call him for it. McCoy going deep, and Reed with the penalty, and it'll be first down for the Bills.
See, he's got his hands on him. He fully doesn't get his head around to the football. Makes that contact.
Defense, number 31. Spot on the foul. Automatic. First down. Correction, the number on the pass interference.
And a first down at the 5-yard line.
Number 35.
Mike Gillislee is in the backfield now.
72.
So a 22-yard penalty in all, and first and goal at the 5. And now the Bills, as Tyrod Taylor not sure about what was going on, calls the timeout. First timeout for Buffalo in the 2nd half. McCoy probably said, I got 3 touchdowns on the ground. How about 1 as a receiver? Right now, let's check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Well, how about 1 as a receiver for Odell Beckham Jr., hooking up with Eli Manning for a 75-yard score against the Ravens. Beckham's 2nd touchdown in the last 2 games after none the first 4 games. That made it 17-13. He did celebrate a bit on the sideline, but of course, that's no penalty because it is on the sideline. Dick, David, and Christina.
Thank you for that, Kurt. So the Giants, trailing early, have taken the lead over the Ravens, and here is Taylor's pass, touchdown to Robert Woods. What a day of celebration for the Buffalo Bills. And very quietly, that man there, Tyrod Taylor, in his 6th year, somehow, some way, gets it done.
Yeah, we talked about coming into this football game that this 49ers defense has been out on the field more than any other defense. In this game, Buffalo's offense, 64 snaps. 49ers offense, just 47.
Carpenter adds the extra point, and the Bills have taken a 38-16 lead. 30 or more points in 4 of their last 5.
This is definitely a first for me. After this scoring drive, you look at Tyrod Taylor. Obviously, he's feeling fresh on the field, but maybe his breath isn't feeling so fresh. That's the first time I've ever seen mouthwash on the sidelines.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of players are going over to congratulate him, and he wants to make sure that, he's not being offensive. Although he has been offensive today.
He doesn't have to do the interview with Christina just yet.
No. Well, he's thinking about it. Gurley is back. I asked Tyrod Taylor, I said, are you nervous about the upcoming game this Saturday between your alma mater, Virginia Tech, and mine, Syracuse? He didn't even know they were going to play. Syracuse swamped Virginia Tech. I don't think that affected Taylor, just a guess. And the 49ers will take it out of the 25, now down by 12. Biggest margin of the game. Bills have it. Is he angling for a commercial? Who knows?
This game is sponsored by Domino's. Order online and track your order.
Well, the Bills with a 22-point lead, not a 12-point lead, with 10:32 remaining, and Mike Davis brings it out to the 30-yard line and a gain of 5.
These are the signs that you need to see out of a team for Chip Kelly. Adversity is hit. You're down 22 points with 10 minutes to go. You've lost 4 straight games. How are you going to fight? Are you going to finish this game and finish your plays? Or are you going to soak and let this just pile on like it is right now?
Kaepernick loses the ball. Got hit from behind the blind side, and it was Lorenzo Alexander who knocked the ball away. '49ers still have it.
Great job. Nice job with his hands. He sees and times up when Joe Staley's going to punch him. Is able to swipe and get that outside edge for his 8th sack of the season, which leads the NFL.
As a part of a sack in every game this season. Talk about consistency. 3rd down and 17 for Kaepernick. Directing traffic, gets hit as he throws. And Alexander again with more pressure. Let's send it down again to Christina Pink.
Hey, Jay, coming into this game, I spoke to Lorenzo Alexander, and one of his teammates called him Benjamin Button, a reference to the movie character that reverses in age. Alexander, the oldest player on this team at 33 years old, but he has not played like it this season. He told me his increase in production has to do with the more snaps, but also the fact that he's played so many different positions on defense, on the defensive line, and also inside and outside helps him anticipate plays.
All right, Christina, thank you. Brandon Tate is back, fields it at the 34. Still going, flag is down, which usually means an illegal block in the back, but Lorenzo Alexander, I don't think anyone ever imagined that he would have the kind of first half of the season he's having.
Well, I used to face Lorenzo Alexander twice a year, but he wasn't on the defensive side of the ball. I can hear our special teams coach saying, you have got to block 97 on kickoff. You've got to block him on punt return. He was on every single special teams making an impact.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 56. 10-yard penalty. First down, Buffalo.
Well, the 49ers have joined the NFL's A Crucial Catch campaign for breast cancer awareness. The players are celebrating and honoring the strength and courage of all those affected.
We're wearing our pink up here. We've got everything supporting as well. I know that we've all had people and women in our lives affected by this terrible, terrible disease.
It's great what the league and what the players are doing here. E.J. Manuel, who's in for one play in the first half, is now the quarterback, and Reggie Bush, the running back, getting the call, and Reggie Bush showing some flashes of yore, picks up about 5 or 6 yards on first down. So the day for Tyrod Taylor is complete. 17 of 26 for 179 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 76 yards rushing, including a 21-yard run, averaging over 8 yards per rush, and gets the kudos from his head coach Rex Ryan. Jonathan Williams now in the backfield for the Bills. Jonathan Williams getting the first down, 5th-round pick from Arkansas. Time for a game break. Carissa Thompson in LA. Carissa.
We got a great game in Detroit. The Lions were down 28-21. Matt Stafford finds Golden Tate for this 23-yard score. Tate's first of the season. Stafford's 4th today. We're all tied up in Detroit 28-all. Dick, David, and Christina.
All right, thank you, Carissa. So a barn burner with the Rams trying to come back from their loss at home to Buffalo, and Detroit trying to get to 500 at 3-3. First down and 10 at the 39 of the Bills. E.J. Manuel, and dropping it is the fullback Jerome Felton.
Not many times do you give it to your fullback. He's done a great job blocking all day, but unable to catch that one.
He'll hear about it, right?
Oh, he most certainly will, especially the fullback, because then fullbacks are always complaining they don't get enough catches, they don't get enough catches. And then, of course, now when they throw to him, he doesn't make it.
Jerome, in another 3 years, we'll try another one with you. 2nd and 10. Again, it's going to be Jonathan Williams. And he is brought down at the 42 by DeForest Buckner. Tyrod Taylor, and those are his numbers, passing and running, and a very poised player. When we talked to him on Friday, and we know that his breath is as fresh as could be now. He's had some mouthwash when he came out the last time. Pointing going on. How about LaShawn McCoy today and what he's done? And nearly thought maybe he'd be through.
Zone infraction. Defense, number 58. 5-yard penalty.
Eli Harold,
the
linebacker. Penalty on the 49ers, and so those are the numbers for LaShawn McCoy. Had 150 yards last week against the Rams, so 290 in 2 weeks, and tied a career high with 3 touchdown runs.
And they're 6 minutes and 52 seconds away from that stat, possibly going from 25-3 with him over 100 yards to 26-3.
3rd down and 2 with 6:43 remaining in the game. Eli Manuel going up the middle, and perfect interception chance for Harold, goes by the boards. And 4th down coming up. We had mentioned earlier about McCoy and the fact that he didn't see eye to eye with Chip Kelly when he played with Philadelphia, and he said that the trade that sent him from Philadelphia to Buffalo hurt him. He said that's the way he put it. He says, I have no other comment. He says, wouldn't shake hands with Chip Kelly, but there are a lot of people who you work with you wouldn't shake hands with. So in his way, he got the message across.
I think his actions today spoke enough. And in regards to Tyrod Taylor, you've got to give him a lot of credit.
Flag down on the kick. Hurley will let it bounce. The Bills are there to down it at the 2. But as we said, there's a flag down at the point of the kick.
Offside. Defense. That 5-yard penalty results in a first down for Buffalo.
So the Bills offense comes back on the field. They have a first down, leading by 22 points, 38-16.
what I was saying earlier was, you know, it's not exactly where you want to be. And they were talking about efficiency and not stats. But Tyrod Taylor having 179 yards passing today and 2 touchdowns is so important to build the confidence of this group, because if you think about it, 3 of the 5 games this year, they've had 125 yards or less passing.
Mike Gillislee with the run as he gets to the 45 of the 49ers. Will Hoyt making the stop. Well, this was an important game for the Buffalo Bills, because this is a game they were expected to win. And so many times teams come into a game, they're not ready, they're not mature, they're not ready after winning some games in the past like they have, and they falter in a critical game. Not for Rex Ryan's team. They came up big when they needed to today, and leading by 22 at this point. You have to say without question that they are a strong playoff candidate in the AFC. Here's Gillislee breaking it. Gillislee will score another Bills touchdown. Third touchdown of the year by Gillislee, and his second in as many weeks. Had one against the Rams and has also caught one.
It's not hard to see how worn down this defense is here in the fourth quarter. And you talk about stacking wins. This was a huge game for the Buffalo Bills, considering the fact they have division rival Miami next week, the Patriots at home, at Seattle, and at Cincinnati.
And a bye week after the Seattle game.
Yep.
So they'll get some time there. Dan Carpenter with the extra point, and the Bills lead 45-16. Tyrod Taylor, normally calm, cool, and collected. You don't see him animated. There he is, animated. Well, David Deal, you talked about the great rushing attack of the Buffalo Bills. Did you count on 298 official yards for this team on the ground? And pounding away at the 49ers, who came into the game next to last in rushing defense. And McCoy with 3 touchdowns, Gillislee with 1. Time to party for the Bills, even though we still have 5:40 to go. Ball bouncing, and Curley on the return. And out of bounds he goes, leading the cheers.
Sing shout with the crowd. You could tell that he's excited and happy about this one, and screaming at Rex. Tell you what, on Sundays, all the work that you put in during the week, all the effort, all the film work, everything on the field, there's no better feeling than walking off of the field victorious and celebrating in the locker room with your teammates.
49ers will have a first down on the 37. They've been outscored 28-3 here in the second half. Colin Kaepernick dropped by Mike Davis. What do you do about the 49ers now? I think Kaepernick, this is his first game in a year. He hasn't thrown a pass in a year. So he's got to have some semblance of confidence that he's better than he was before he got hurt.
Yeah, and like I said, obviously this game did not turn out the way the 49ers wanted it to.
Caught by McDonald.
Obviously this game did not turn out the way that the 49ers wanted it to, but I mean, think about how effective Colin Kaepernick was today. Didn't turn the football over, 10 for 22 for 159 yards, ran for 66, got the ball to his outside targets, but he couldn't do it all by himself today. Other players needed to step up and make impact plays when needed. He had drops, he had other incompletions.
Third down and 4, I agree. Kaepernick tipped incomplete. Intended for Jeremy Curley. So it's 4th down, and the 49ers will kick it away. So Chip Kelly in his first year with the 49ers. This team has to build its way up, and it is a young team. They've got a lot of good young players on this team, David, as this punt handled and into the end zone. Well, coming up next on Fox, it's America's Game of the Week with a pair of showdowns. Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott lead the Cowboys into Green Bay to face the Packers, or Matt Ryan and the high-flying Falcons take on Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. The NFL action continues next right here on Fox. Couple of good ones, David Deal.
Unbelievable game. Dak Prescott going up against a future Hall of Famer. And talk about another player that has truly stepped up and taken advantage of every opportunity that has been given. What he's been able to do to put in the zone read option into that Dallas offense with Ezekiel Elliott, it's been absolutely devastating to defenses.
E.J. Manuel hands off to Williams, who brings it out to the 25-yard line. And it's interesting, we talk about Russell Wilson and a fumble, and the 49ers recover after all of that. And it was Ballore. It was interesting talking about Russell Wilson and Matt Ryan in that matchup, David. And when we talked to Michael Wilhoit, he likened Tyrod Taylor to Russell Wilson. Here is the fumble. Mike Purcell forced it.
Regardless of what circumstances it is in the game, you're up 45-16. Being a rookie and turning over the football, there's no excuse for it. And you know that they're going to be all over him on this, because you're getting your opportunity to show and who you are as a football player here in the fourth quarter. And when you put the football onto the ground, it makes his coach scared to put you back out there.
Right. You're absolutely right. Here's Davis from Kaepernick and goes out of bounds. 4:23 on the clock. Humber pushed him out of bounds. So do you see a similarity between Tyrod Taylor and Russell Wilson?
I do. I see a similarity in them. I think that you see Tyrod Taylor run the football more because he has packages with runs that are almost similar to Cam Newton.
Second down and 4 for the 49ers in Buffalo territory. No chance for Kaepernick as Adolphus Washington, the third-round pick out of Ohio State.
Had a sack last week in the game, just had his second sack of the season, and that's rookie against rookie. I think it's a good thing that throughout this game we haven't had to mention, outside of one play, the holding call, Joshua Garnett, the right guard, who's starting for the first time in this game. So I think that Adolphus Washington has been a great addition to this Buffalo defense, considering Shaq Lawson is out.
And he started all 5 games as the rookie, so that bodes well for him. Third down and 11. And here's Kaepernick, and he completes the pass for the first down to Rod Streeter. And for a game break, Carissa Thompson in Los Angeles.
Thank you, Dick. Well, coming up next, we've got 2 great games. You'll either see the 4-1 Cowboys and Dak Prescott take on the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, or you will see the 4-1 Falcons. Matt Ryan getting ready for a game against the Seahawks in Seattle. It's all coming up next.
All right, Carissa. Meanwhile, 1st and 10 at the 13. And Davis drops another one.
Once again, as I discussed earlier, adversity is hit, but you're showing who you truly are as a football player right now on the football field to your head coach, Chip Kelly.
Well, as coaches have said, and you've heard it said, it's an audition.
It is.
You're putting what you're doing on tape. Sean Drone has come in as the tailback for Colin Kaepernick. 3.5 minutes remaining in the game. And Drone getting an opportunity, and he is stacked up by Ramon Humber after picking up 2 yards. 49ers, by the way, will host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their next game before their bye, and then they face the Saints and go on the road to face the Arizona Cardinals. But you got to keep driving, and you know what they say, are you better at the end of the year than you were earlier in the year? And that's always a mark going into the next season for any team. 3rd down and 8. Quentin Patton is in motion. Kaepernick Gets some time. Fires. Tipped. And incomplete. Almost intercepted by Kevon Seymour. And intended for Quentin Patton. Well, coming up, it's the State Farm Game Break Show. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will be along with scores and highlights of all today's action. And we'll get you ready for America's Game of the Week. Quentin Patton shaken up, going to the sideline. There he is. Patton with 4 catches, the leading receiver for the 49ers today. Kaepernick, 13 of 28. A touchdown pass and 187 yards. Backed up to about the 20. Drills it. Deflected. Incomplete. Torrey Smith defended in the end zone on 4th down, and the Bills will take over on downs.
Colin Kaepernick scrambling to his right. Pressure given up by Trent Brown. Jerry Hughes getting inside. Tries to deliver one, but he's just trying to force it out there. There's nothing left. He's trying to make a play. Another pass defense by Ronald Darby, and the offense is just going to come out here in this 2 minutes and 34 seconds left and hopefully end the game running the football consistently on each and every play.
Kaepernick was a threat with his legs as well, but not enough for the 49ers today as Jonathan Williams gets the handoff from E.J. Manuel as we will wind down to the 2-minute warning. So Rex Ryan's team winning a game that they were favored to win, but not slipping up, not suffering that letdown that affects so many teams that are coming off the high of a 3-game winning streak. Not today, and not for the Buffalo Bills. 2-minute warning. We'll be back after this.
The city sleeps and I'm the only one.
Game is sponsored by Subway Restaurants. Try the new thick-cut autumn carb turkey sandwich from Subway.
2 minutes remaining in the game here, and Rex Ryan shaking hands with even the officials at this point. He's already shaking hands with all of his players and coaches. 2nd down and 9. And the handoff is to Jonathan Williams. And he is wrestled down by Will Hoyt. Whistle would blow.
Well, LaShawn McCoy today with 3 touchdowns. Here's the first one, the option. Second one, direct snap as the quarterback. Third one, right side, power, taking it to the house. And he deserves every right to celebrate and do his dance like he always does, grooving.
Touchdown runs of 4, 12, and 18 yards, and nearly caught a long touchdown pass, but was interfered with. So another big day for LaShawn McCoy. No letdown there, huh? 3rd down and 3. And a keeper by Manuel, and it'll be a first down out to the 22-yard line for the Bills. For the first time since 2008, the Bills win their 4th consecutive game. New England winning today 35-17. So the Bills remain on the heels of the Patriots, and as David mentioned, we'll be playing them in 2 weeks at home. They've already beaten the Patriots on the road and shut them out. Of course, that was before Tom Brady came along back. Meanwhile, the 49ers will have lost their 5th in a row for the first time in 6 years.
And the Buffalo Bills cap it with the best game in football, the victory formation.
And go to 1-5. Finished 6-10 the last time that happened. Colin Kaepernick returned to the field as a starter today. But it was the Bills who prevailed. So for David Deal and Christina Pink, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from Buffalo. Once again, the final score, the Bills 45 and the 49ers 16. Right now, let's go to the State Farm Game Break Show with Kurt Menefee and the boys in Los Angeles.